I told myself I'm going to spend as little money as possible. I'm going to dive into this. And literally 2019 to about, or 2021, sorry, till about 3 months ago, I can't tell you one thing that I did because I was reading books, seminars, sitting on calls of financial advisors. Like, how can I learn this thing? And, but hey, it worked out. Like, just so you know, in
Yeah.
2021, I made 18 grand. 2022, my first year in the industry, I made negative $6,000. This year, I'm on track for 750. So, um, how did it happen? One day I snapped and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I've had a couple of heat strokes. Like, I don't want to be outside
Yeah.
anymore. My family needs me more. How can I do something else? And this is where I landed. Through a dart, stuck here. It's nice to see somebody else with a bright red beard.
Dude, where does it come from? Do you have red hair?
No, no. I mean, I've looked it up before. I think it's some kind of melanin deficiency or something from like Scottish Irish roots. I don't know, but the red beard is supposed to be like a health deficiency. You're supposed to have something wrong with you if you have it.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I had brown hair whenever I did have hair, but
Hey, I
it's
shaved my
gone.
head for 12 years. My wife won't let me shave it anymore.
Well, I have to. It's a non-negotiable for me in my life. But well, man, tell everyone who you are.
Yeah. So Dustin Wylie, owner of Viking Financial, part owner of Spectrum Planning Group. I'm a financial professional. I work in all 50 states, and I've been doing this for about 2 years. But I think I'm on point to make about 750,000 this year. So future's bright.
Oh, 100%. 100%. What is this cleaning group?
Spectrum Planning Group. So it's a full planning firm. We do everything from financial planning, exit
Oh,
strategies, CPA, taxes, accounting, um, estate planning, law. We do literally everything with a dollar bill. Like recently, we actually hired a crypto CPA. So before I'd say, hey, we don't do crypto. Now we do crypto.
gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought it was like a cleaning business or something. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, there's something for everybody
Hey,
out there for sure.
yeah, that was in the past. I used to do window cleaning and I used to climb turbine towers. So if you ever seen the big windmills on the side of the road that are like
Really?
400 feet tall, yeah, I climbed those and cleaned those after they had oil spills and burnouts and stuff. So I don't miss it. Like I worked, you can tell I'm a blue collar at heart person. I don't miss it one bit.
Yeah, I can't imagine climbing that. Pretty dangerous, I would assume.
Man, it is. Some of the sketchiest things I've ever done were in those towers. So, like, the way it works is if a part of the machinery breaks down, the oil will actually run down the sides. It'll run down the
Really?
ladder. Some of it will catch on fire. And there's times that I would have to climb 400 feet directly up, and I would have oil and gas just dripping in my face. So, not only is everything slippery, yeah, you have a tether, but you're climbing 400 feet with all this lubricant everywhere. It's not fun. And then on top of that,
No.
you have to power wash at 250 degrees to break down the oil and gas. So it is a humid death trap.
Well, from that to the relaxation corner, I'm glad to see you sitting there, man.
Yeah, I love the AC. I don't like outside anymore.
Before we dive into any more, what are we drinking today? I know you chose the Alani.
Yes, sir. I got the Alani Kim Kardashian.
So tell
Uh,
me about that. What does that taste like?
it tastes like lemonade, strawberry lemonade, but it's not like
Oh,
sour and it's not overly sweet. So to be honest, I expected not a lot, and I like it.
is that your first Alani?
That's Alani. I've had probably about 120 Alanis this year.
Yeah. Dude, I love them. They're a
Yeah,
cool brand. They do a good job.
yeah. The only problem I have with them is the older ones have a different type of sweetener in them, so they give me just the most crippling like occipital lobe headaches. So I just can't drink them.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I will stick with the newer ones than myself. I mean, maybe that's where the Redbeard comes from, dude. Who knows?
yeah, yeah.
So, how did you go from cleaning these turbine towers to doing what you're doing now?
Man, it's a goofy story, and a lot of you might look down on me if you're watching this. I had a huge addiction playing Xbox, like Call of Duty, Halo, 4 hours a day at least, even if I worked a 12-hour shift. and I was playing Call of Duty with some friends, and one of them was a whiny old woman. Like I say, old, she's 40. She had 5 kids. She always complained about everything everyone did. And one day I was playing with her, and she was just like griping. And finally, I got up in the middle of a game. I shut off my system. I unplugged it. I stuck it in the closet. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm spending
Hmm.
my whole day making $320 a week, killing myself, climbing turbines. I was doing plumbing at the time. I was like 2 weeks from being able to get my plumbing license. I was like, I don't even want to do this. Why am I doing this? Like, what is causing me to stay in this rut? And now that I've been in this group, CCV, Clear Calculated and Vicious with Rob Bailey, he's always saying like self talk. Self talk is huge. And I've always self talked, but it's been in a positive, like, oh, your life's good. You know, you're making enough money to get by, but then I never checked myself enough. So in that moment, I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? My buddy did 75 hard. He talked about how it changed his life. It completely changed the way he felt. And I'm just like, I'm in a rut. Let's do this thing. So the next day, got up, started 75 hard. 28 days in, I was so close to cheating because my wife made me go to Texas Roadhouse like 6 times in those 75 days. I can't tell you. Like, I had orgasm feelings smelling the rolls.
There's rolls
And I
in
was
that
like,
butter, dude.
it's not even fair. And I just kept looking at her like, man, I'd skin you alive right now in public if it was legal. But yeah, I mean, almost cheated. Got through 76 days, so I did the 76th day, and I was like, I fell off. But anyways, those 75 days, I was like researching what can I do, like what is out there that I can do that I can not really make a ton of money because I don't really care about the money. I mean, right now, 90% of what I made this year is sitting in a checking account, which is wrong. I shouldn't be doing that. Um, I don't care about the money, but I just thought, how can I be free to where if I want to play this Xbox, I can play it. If I want to
Hmm.
go on a 2 week trip, how can I do it? So, long story short, I was at the gym and there was this Guido man. He's a white guy, but he's like 6'4". His arms were like 22 inches, but his legs were like like 4 inches around. And I was like, this guy's
Yeah.
always got a spray tan. He's got this sweet watch. He's driving a G wagon. Like, what does this guy do? Well, one day he took a call and I'm listening to him. I'm like, okay, so he's a financial advisor is what it sounds like. So I went home and wrote down everything that he said, looked it up, and I was like, this guy's full of it. He's lying. He's pulling one over on his clients and just making a bunch of money. And the more I looked into it, I was like, okay, if he can make that much money and a lot of people, how much money is out there and what is the niche in the market for someone who tells the truth and does the right thing? So,
Hmm.
long story short, looked at how can I get into the business. First off, is like you can do about 75% of all financial advisors what they offer if you just get an insurance license. Okay, when did the
Wow.
life insurance license? When I got the license, like back here, I have a thing on the wall. It's corny. The first day of the rest of your life, 8/21/2021, and that was a little bit of almost two
Wow.
years ago. So 2 years ago, I started. In a whole year, I had $20,000 in my checking account. The only reason why I had 20,000 in my checking is I went to SBA and I got an EIDL loan. If you don't know what the EIDL loan was, basically when COVID was around, they said, "Hey, we'll give you up to $9,500 as a small business loan." So I took the 9,500 once. I was like, "Hey, they're offering it again." Took it twice, and I was like, "Man, I'm digging
Hmm.
myself in a hole. 20 grand is huge for me at the time. I didn't even make that in 2019. I made $18,000."
Wow.
And I told myself I'm going to spend as little money as possible. I'm going to dive into this, and literally 2019 to about or 2021, sorry, till about 3 months ago, I can't tell you one thing that I did because I was reading books, seminars, sitting on calls of financial advisors. Like, how can I learn this thing? And but hey, it worked out. Like, just so you know, in
Yeah.
2021, I made 18 grand. 2022, my first year in the industry, I made negative $6,000. This year, I'm on track for 750. So um, how did it happen? One day I snapped and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I've had a couple of heat strokes. Like, I don't want to be outside
Yeah.
anymore. My family needs me more. How can I do something else? And this is where I landed through a dart, stuck here.
That's amazing. So, what is your day to day like now? Like, what are you doing as far as insurance goes?
Man, day to day, I'm lazy. Like, I completely align with uh, Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella talks about, billionaires and millionaires say you got to wake up at 4 in the morning and grind it out before everyone else. He's like, dude, I sleep in every day, and I shouldn't, but I do. So I sleep in. I sleep in till about 7:30 or 8 every day. But when I get up, it's straight to social media. So I go to my like. I didn't say that 99% of my business is through Instagram. So like I bought a bunch of leads whenever I started. If you don't know what a lead is, it's basically you're purchasing someone's information to have a client to sit with. So I spent like
Hmm.
$6,500 on leads and I closed none of them. And I was like, this is not going to work. So I got on social media. I researched everybody in my niche and I just started copying what they did. And I started to just remix. So remixing is they're doing the thing. I'm over here just nodding my head just to learn. Like if you're trying to learn something, just do it. Like analysis paralysis is huge. Everybody has it at some
Yep.
point. I mean, I saw you did an episode with Matt, like episode 11, where he talked about um, having that cringe mountain to where you're like, at first,
Yep.
you're like, man, I don't want to film. I don't want to do any of this. I just want to show up and it work. And you can't do that. Like the first month that I was posting on Instagram, I hated it. I posted it and I deleted it. I posted it and I deleted it. I'm like, just leave it up. Left it up, man. 9 months later, I got my first client and I was like, oh, this might actually work. And then about, I'd say 3 months later, I woke up and I had 1,200 messages overnight.
What?
And my phone was on the charger and it was on 90% all
Wow.
night long. So what happened is a
Wow.
video went viral on TikTok, and first 2 months of that viral TikTok video, I made like 10 grand each month, and I was like, I made it. I made it. This is awesome. 100 grand a year. We're good. And January hit. A couple more videos went viral, and then now like my best month is 100 grand. No, 120 grand. Um,
Jeez, that's awesome.
but anyways, it's a consistency, man. Just starting out in social media and being yourself, man. Gary Vaynerchuk said, "Be yourself, and people are going to flock to you." And I laughed. I was like, "No, no one wants this guy. Like, look, I'm sleeveless shirt and a beard, redneck slur. No one wants that." And the more I posted content, I realized people are like, "I don't want a suit and tie. I don't want somebody with like, you know, oak cabinets behind them with a tie, and they got their hair slicked over, and they're telling me stuff that I don't understand. I don't want that." And I found out that Gary was right. Like, be yourself. You'll attract people like yourself. Like my first, I think 10 clients, you'd laugh. They literally all looked like me and you. They were red bearded, just country boys from North Carolina, Georgia, and Oklahoma. I was like,
That's amazing.
I attracted myself.
So, do you think that you'd be able to reach this point now without social media, or would it have just taken maybe 3 or 4 more years to get to this point?
Without social media, I would have quit. I was door knocking. I was going to um, real estate companies. I was going to banks. I was talking to everyone that I could. I was doing what you're supposed to do at first, which is just cold marketing, cold recruiting, just finding anyone to do business with. And it wasn't working. I made no money doing that. Actually, I spent so much money on marketing, probably like 2 grand on mailers and business cards and websites. Turned none of it. So social
Hmm.
media, like I hate it because social media is evil and people spend way too much time on it. But at the same time, it's a huge, huge benefit. I know people. I mean, my highest net worth client makes like $100 million a year, and he was like, I just didn't use anyone as a financial advisor because I was too busy making money. But whenever I went through and saw you, just some redneck hometown boy that talking about finance, like I knew that was my guy. So
That's amazing, dude.
yeah, don't think that everyone that's on social media is just flipping through videos. Make $1,000 a month. You'd be surprised what's out there.
Wow. So, what kind of insurance are you doing? Are you still doing predominantly life insurance or everything?
So I started out with a local firm. We did home, auto, and health, and I did a little bit of life. So the reason why I was niched is because no one wanted to offer life insurance in that company. So I just did life only for a while. I threw darts at everything. I did home, auto, life, health, Medicare. None of it was really turning over. Like I got to do cool things. I got to go eat 5-star restaurants with carriers, like go meet people, shake hands, but it didn't really do anything for me. Um,
Hmm.
and then finally, the investment, I guess you'd say investment insurance, is really just cash value life insurance. That realm stuck. So now predominantly I'm doing cash value life insurance, retirement rollovers. Like that's what I do. But I'm actually in 3 weeks going straight marketing. So for a
Hmm.
while, I made a ton of money self producing, but I don't want to do it anymore. I love talking to people. I love figuring out their problems, but it's a whole lot easier when I can just focus on one thing and niche down. So Alex Hermosi, like he's actually got at Rob Bailey, our mentor, and he's like, dude, what would happen if you would niche down and just do the one thing you're good at? And he's like, I never thought of it that way. Or he did hear that, but he's like, no, I'm going to spread myself thin. So that's what I'm doing. What am I good at? Reaching people, getting them to trust me, and then now I'll have a group under me that can take my calls, and I can kind of just make sure they're doing the right thing.
That's amazing.
Yep.
You're helping change other lives too with that. That's huge.
Right. And they say the best thing you can do is help other people make money, and then you'll make money just as a consequence.
Yeah. So what is this insurance, this cash out life insurance you're talking about?
So, cash value life insurance has been
Value, sorry.
around since you're good. Cash value life insurance has been around since 1750. Predominantly whole life insurance up until about 1998, where indexed universal life was created. Cash value life insurance is just the IRS saying you can put so much money into life insurance and then overly fund it so much. So when you overly fund it so much, it goes into a savings account and it grows tax free. And when you access it, it's tax free. So basically, if you did
Hmm.
$100 a month into a policy, the IRS says you can put in 900 extra dollars. But if you put any more in, you're breaking all the rules. Now it's a taxable account. So cash value life insurance is just another way to save money and it grow non-taxable. What's so key about it and what's so cool about it is somebody like, let's say you come to me and you make 250,000 as a married couple. Well, you're right on the precipice where you can't own a Roth IRA. You can't contribute to it because there's limitations to your income. So if you make 260,000, now you have no way to grow money tax free. Enter cash value life insurance. So there's no limitations on how much you can put in. It's all tax free growth, has life insurance tied to it, and you can retire before 60. So a lot of people don't
Hmm.
know that you can't retire before 60 with 99% of retirement accounts because it's a 59.5 rule. If you retire before 60, they take 10% off the top. The government does as a penalty.
Wow. Okay. So I know we talked before, and there's several different types of this, right?
Yep.
Of this cash value.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah. So cash value life insurance basically comes in three forms. You have whole life insurance. That's grandpa's life insurance, been around since 1750. There's indexed universal life insurance, and then there's variable universal life. So whole life is going to give you a fixed rate of return. You put your money in, they guarantee you 4% forever. It's grandpa's insurance because it's fixed. It's like a CD in insurance. You have access to the money at any point in time, tax free, meaning if you have $10,000 in your account, you could borrow up to $10,000. The reason why you want to borrow from it and not withdraw, if you have 10,000, you take out 10,000, you have zero left. So nothing can compound. But if you have 10,000 in and you leverage it and you take 10,000 as a loan, now you still have your 10,000 earning interest and you have your 10,000 in your pocket. So it's a pretty cool way to make money in two different places. Um, Indexed universal life is a way that instead of them giving you the 4% guarantee, they're going to say, hey, Chris, I'm going to take this 4% and go buy options in the market. If it returns 10, we'll give you 10. If we return to 15, we'll cap you at 12. But hey, guess what? If the market goes down 20% like last year, you lose nothing because we took our money that we were going to promise you and we gambled it for you. So long
Hmm.
term, you could see there's more growth potential in the IUL. The VUL is basically the exact same thing as the IUL, except all of your money is in the market. So if the market crashes 20%, you lose 20%. If it goes up 50, you gain the 50. So if your volatility, like let's say you're okay with risk, you go with the VUL. I don't like the VUL. There's a lot of risks with it. I can't get into it. It'd take like 2 hours to tell you, but that's basically the three types of cash value insurance.
Gotcha. So how does someone get into that? Like, what are some of these prerequisites, and who should be getting into this stuff?
Yeah, you mean like as a client or as a producer?
Yeah. Yeah. As a
Yeah.
client.
So how do you get into it? One, it's life insurance, so you have to be insurable. So if you come to me and you're like, "Hey, I have Crohn's disease and AIDS," like it's not going to happen. The thing is, if you do have those kind of issues and you're married, we can always do what's called borrowing a life. So let's say your wife is downridden, has all the diseases in the world, but you're healthy. She can take out a policy on you, own it, fund it, control it, just like it's her, but it's you. So that's one way. If you're uninsurable, there's a way around it. If you are insurable, you just have to submit the application saying, I want to put in $500 a month. $500 a month constitutes $172,000 of death benefit. We'll just run with that. So now we have to go apply for $172,000. If they say yes, you're coverable, you start your funding, the cash value starts growing. Um, I wouldn't say it's for everyone, but it's actually for most people. And the reason why is like there's a huge, huge problem in the financial services industry. Most people don't know of the 4% rule. So the 4% rule states that whenever you retire at 65, you can only take about 4% of your retirement accounts per year, no more. So, like if you have $1 million, you saved up $1 million over your whole life, you didn't go on vacations, you didn't do anything fun, you kept the old raggedy truck. Now you can only take $40,000 a year of income. So, $1 million 401k, you get to take $40,000 home, and that's before taxes. So, you're going to net about 32 grand. Worked your whole life, saved your whole life to bring home 2,500 bucks a month. So
Jeez.
the reason why I bring that up is with cash value life insurance, if you use index universal life, you can take about 8 to 10% income per year. So that's double to almost triple the income, and it's non-taxable. In the whole life arena, you can take about 4 to 6, but it's fixed. So I just tell you, it depends on someone's risk tolerance. I sell everything. We'll do the VUL, the IUL, the whole life term, all the insurances, all the retirement accounts, but most people don't understand retirement income versus net worth.
I feel like there's been a big transition of everyone chasing net worth, and now they're chasing the financial independence, retirement early type deal, the fire, whatever you see on Reddit, right?
Yep.
Um, and I think, what's your take on net worth
Oh man, net worth,
of
I
its
don't like it.
importance?
So yeah, I have a client who's worth $120 million, and most of it's from crypto, but you can't really leverage crypto for retirement income. So he's like, man, I got all the net worth in the world. I got 4 McLarens, 2 lifted trucks. I got all this stuff and all this crypto, but I can't retire with it. So it doesn't matter how much net worth you have, it's how much cash flow do you have. So whenever they say passive income, biggest lie in the world, but passive income is like, how can you passively make income to pay your bills? Because financial stability or financial freedom isn't I have $120 million in net worth. It's my bills are $100,000 a month. I passively make $150,000 a month, so I have to do nothing, and I get to put $50,000 in my pocket every month. So net worth honestly means nothing in the realm of financial freedom and stability.
Hmm. Yeah, that's there's a grandpa's insurance and there's a grandpa's mindset, and I feel like that's kind of, no offense to grandpas out there, but that's a how most grandfathers think. They want to see a net worth, right? They want to see what their land and their house values at, and that's kind of how they walk around with their chest out, instead of how much money is coming in each month off rentals or whatever sort of income they have to keep generating it.
Yep, for
Um,
sure.
so to flip the script, how does someone get into the producer role like you?
Man, I'll tell you, if you're wondering how can you get to where I'm at in 2 years, you can't do it. I can't think of one person that I've ever met that has the tenacity to do it. Not to toot my own horn, I think it takes a little bit of psychic. Like I have to be a little bit psycho to be able to do what I did, go without income for a whole year. Um, but to actually just start and say, hey, I'd like to move in that realm. Once again, like I said, a life insurance contract or a life insurance license, it gets you about 70 to 75% there. So once you get your life insurance license, not life and health. So if you do your life and health exam, it's like 155 questions. But if you just do the life, it's 80. Like I'm going to do 80 all day long over 155. You go get your license. Now you have to get contracted. To get contracted, you have to go through someone. You can't just go to a company and say, hey, I want to write business with you because you have no track record. They're not going to spend their time contracting you. So you have to go through what's called an IMO. An IMO is an insurance marketing organization. They basically hold contracts over 50, 100, or 1,000 companies. And the reason why they can hire you is because they're taking the risk. If I'm an IMO, which I am, and you come to me and you say, I have no production at all, okay, we'll contract you. But now it's my job to make sure you don't do anything stupid, illegal. There's no chargebacks. So, like, you write a policy, it cancels, and we have to pay all the money back. That's all on me. So, I'm taking all the risk to hire someone who's new. So, you have to know when you start, your commission's not going to be very good because you haven't earned it. Once you get to the
Mhm.
point like me, I do as much business a month as about, say, 90% of IMOs, all of them together. Like, if I go to an IMO that has 100 people in it, I do more business personally than that whole IMO. So I can go to any carrier right now and get the best contract there is. So that's the reason why I've opened up my own IMO, is so I can go out there and get those best contracts, because my time is worth a lot more than most newcomers, really all of them. Um, I'm not going to settle for 80% commission when I can get 150% commission. So if you don't know what that
Yeah.
means, let's say I write a policy where I'm supposed to get paid $1,000. If I'm at 80% commission, I'll get $800. If I'm at 150 commission, I get $1,500. So instead of getting paid what a street level um, insurance advisor would get, I get more because I get the IMO level. So I guess how do you get
Wow,
into it? Get
that's
your
huge.
license, find someone to get licensed under, and then two or three, you just have to get trained. The hardest part about this is making sure you know what you're doing. I know people that have been in the industry for 15 years that I've rewritten their policies because they don't know what they're doing. That or they're just doing it on
Mm,
purpose. So the reason why I think I make so much money and I'm so successful is because I do things correctly. So there's ways that you can completely screw over a client with insurance, and there's a way that you can do it perfectly. Every single time I do it perfectly. And what do I mean by perfectly? Let's say you come to me, Chris, hey, I want to put $1,000 a month into this policy. Sweet. The IRS says your death benefit has to be at least $121,000. So what do? We only do 121,000. What other agents will do is like, hey, you make 120 grand a year. Let's get you 10 times your annual income and coverage. That way, if you pass away, your wife's taken care of, your kids are taken care of. We want to make sure that if you die, everyone's taken care of. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So now they write you for $1.2 million of coverage. So now it takes you 10 years to get any growth in your policy, zero
hmm.
growth for 10 years. So you're just paying in straight death benefit. You know what happens to them? They get paid 12 to 15 times more than I do. So if you want to come in and you want to be evil and you want to be get pushed out of the industry really quick but make a lot of money quick, there's a way to do it. But I guarantee you, I'm going to come find you and I'm going to make sure you lose your license.
That's insane.
It is.
Yeah, man, you're the sheriff in town. I like that.
Yeah,
A
there's
big
a
fan of that.
last week I had a policy I reviewed. Some lady said, "Hey, I opened 6 policies. One of my husband, one of me, and my 4 kids. Okay, let's review them." So I reviewed them, and their advisor made 34,000 on hers, 32,000 on his, and then 5,000 per kid.
Holy
So
crap.
he brought home 90 grand by writing all 6 policies incorrect. So we canceled them, turned right around, wrote them correctly. I made 10. So you could see the difference. If I did things wrong this year, man, I'd easily be at 5 million right now. Easy.
Yeah. You won't be sleeping at night, though, right?
No,
That's
I
the
got to sleep
problem.
at night. Yes. And I want sustainability, man. If I can write a policy that's perfect, that no one can beat, one, my book of business is stickier. Two, I get to sleep at night. Three, in 2 years, whenever they look at their policy and it did exactly what it's supposed to, they call me back and I get more business.
Yep. So do people come back to the same people to get another policy, or how does that work?
Yeah. So a lot of the times they'll say, we've seen a lot of this going around social media. My uncle likes the idea, but he doesn't know who to trust. I used you. I trust you. Can you sit with him? Sweet. Sometimes it's, we open one on me, but now we're making more money, but I can't put any more into my policy. Like you told me, we can't put any more in, so let's open one on my wife. So most of my recommendations are open one up with my spouse or a family member. Where I'm really looking to go with this in the marketing side is I have probably 40 clients that make over $1 million a year that are sitting in underwriting, waiting for their policies to go through. And once you set up, Alex Hermosi says this: you want to make more money, figure out rich people problems. So if I can get
Yep.
40 wealthy people to go and find 5 more people to bring back to me, like, could you imagine?
And every person, when they're like a sales role or anything of this kind of realm, I guess, they want to live off referrals, which I'm sure is what you're doing, right? But of course, you're still putting out content, which is great, by the way. I learn a lot from every time. Every time I see you pop up, I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm about to learn something good today, man. I
Appreciate
like
it.
it. And this is this whole infinite banking thing, right? That you'll see people talk about this
Yeah,
life
it's
insurance.
part of it. Yeah. So infinite banking is just a way that instead of you using banks for your long term savings, you're going to use cash value life insurance. The reason why is so there's a thing called the rule of 72. So what it means is you take 72, you divide it by your interest rate that you're earning. That's how long it'll take you to double your money. So if you're earning 1%, 72 divided by 1, it'll take you 72 years to double your money. In a traditional savings account, it would take you 1,200 years to double your money. Don't know about you, not living that long.
I wish,
Um,
but maybe not.
right.
I don't know.
Right. So the whole thought is if you can average 7% income, it'll take you 10.2 years to double your money. If you can average 10%, it'll take you 7 years to double your money. So it's like, do you want 0.06% returns today in your bank account? Or do you want to wait 5 or 6 years for your policy to start performing? Now you're earning 7%, 5%, 10%, all over the place. So infinite banking, a lot of people think is a get rich quick scheme. Throw my money in, take it back out, and that's what social media tells you. Man, I can't tell you how many times that I'm having to combat these people on social media that are just lying. I'm sure you've seen some of my videos where I'm just ripping
Yep.
into people like lies, 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 because they're making things seem too good to be true. They're selling you that fat death benefit that we talked about. So one, they're lying to you about what it does. Two, they lie to you about your insurance. So they lied to you twice, and they get to make this fat commission. I mean,
Hmm.
it's disgusting. So the infinite
It
banking
is.
is basically I want to put my money away into life insurance instead of the bank. In the future, I'm going to borrow from my life insurance, not withdraw it. So if I have 100 grand, like I said before, I'm not going to take the whole 100 grand because now I have zero. But if I take 100 and I leverage it and I borrow from the insurance company, now I'm borrowing 100 grand from the company and I'm still making money on my 100 grand. So like easy math, let's say you're making 7% on your 100 and you're paying 5% on your loan. You're making 2% arbitrage borrowing your own money. So infinite banking is a way long term for you to make money
Hmm.
while using your money.
Pretty sweet.
Yep, it's just
But
it's a patience game. Way too many
yeah.
people are in the crypto mindset of I should have 1,000% returns each year. If that's you, don't even look into it.
Yep. Yeah, that's amazing how much people can scam people in this. That kind of, man, yeah, it makes me want to go like hunt these guys down. I want to check like everyone I love. Like, hey, let me see your insurance policy real quick. Let me send it to Dustin, see if it looks good.
Oh man, you're
you
telling
know?
me that's the whole reason why I got in the industry is it's just slime balls. Like the guy I talked about, the Guido. It's like, man, I hope one day I run him out of business because
Yeah.
those are the type of people I'm coming for. Like I don't care if I make money, if I make $2,000 a month, but I can get people to get out of the industry, I would do it all day long.
Are there not that many people that are on social media talking about the truth?
No, it's because it cuts down their
It
business.
doesn't
So
get
like
views.
no, whenever I do a review with someone or I start a policy, there's one page on the entire illustration. So there's 60 pages. And there's one page that everyone skips. Why? Because when you go to it, it's transparency. So you go, say $1,000 a month again, you're trying to put in this policy, and I say the minimum death benefit's 121,000. When you go to this page, it says your maximum input is $12,000 a year. You can't put a dime more in. So what that's telling me is this policy is written perfectly. The cost,
Hmm.
the fees, the insurance are absolutely shrunk to the bare minimum. Why don't people go to that page? Because they write you 10 times too much insurance and it shows the cap at 100 grand. So, if I could tell anyone, like if you have any kind of cash value policy or any kind of permanent policy, I will look them over for free all day long. I probably get 2 or 3 a day that I look over. I think 5 policies out of the last 1,000 have been written correctly. So that is the percentage of how badly your policy is probably written.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll be sending some people your way. That's for sure. Now, as far as the content game goes, you talked about that first month being real brutal. Did it just click overnight? Like, I guess maybe the TikTok thing that probably made you feel pretty good, right? You're like, okay, a lot of reassurance right here and a euphoric amount of reassurance.
Yep.
But before that point, like, what were you telling yourself every day just to even have the discipline to do it?
So I told myself during 75 hard, post 3 times a day, no matter what. That could be one reel, one story, one comment. Just put yourself out there at least 3 times a day. So what I did is I just forced myself, go do that, go do that, go do that. Every day it was like, instead of having 9 tasks, I had 10. The 10th one was go do the insurance or the social media. Now that I train people, I don't know if everyone feels this way, but I feel this way. When I master something and I go to teach it, I feel like I need to over teach it because I automatically put two and two together as it's coming at me. So I forget, hey,
Mhm.
this step I put together in my head without even thinking about it. But that person's probably thinking, well, what about this? So my problem is go do social media. This is the 1,000 reasons why you should do it this way instead of just saying, well, that causes analysis paralysis. So if I tell you, Chris, go just remix my reels for 2 weeks, okay, I can do that. I just push a button, stand there, nod my head, I'm good. So what that does is it gets you comfortable being on camera. One, that's how
Yep.
you teach people. Two, now it's like start recreating it. You're not going to put your first couple 30 videos out like me because you're going to hate your voice. Your nose is going to be in the wrong place. Like my beard's got to split instead of being like this. You're going to hate it.
Yeah.
And you just got to get used to it. And it's that cringe mountain. And there's a lot of things with social media posting that I didn't know that I had to learn. So I think that's why it took me so long to catch traction. So I've been training, I think, 9 people for the last month on how to do what I do. One person has done it to the T, and so far she's gotten two leads in 7 days. So like
That's
that's
awesome.
huge. Most people don't get a lead a week. Me at the highest point, I was getting like 100 leads a week. But that man, I can't tell you the weight that was pulled off of my shoulders. Whenever she told me, "Hey, I got a lead," and then an hour later got another lead, I was like, "Okay, like
It works.
I know
There
what
you
I'm
go.
talking about."
Yeah.
All this time I thought I know what I was talking about. Like with training, physical training. If I tell you to go, squat this weight 40 times for 2 months, and you don't get like a leg vein or a cut, I wonder, okay, am I doing this right? But
Yeah.
then you think, wait, they're eating cookies and ice cream, and they're really
Hmm.
doing 20. All these things matter. They really do matter.
Exactly. That's awesome. Dude, that's so cool that you're doing that. I had no idea that you were training people. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yep, my future goal is to just do marketing and just train people to do what I do. Because if people are running my leads, if I give you one of my leads and I say, hey, you have to run it this way because it's my business and you're going to treat my people the way I want them to be treated. Now I get a 50% cut on that split. You make 1,000, I get 500, you get 500. But if I can make people more money, like we said, if I can get you to come on and start getting your own leads and split them with no one, now you're making more money, and then we get a little
Hmm.
bit of an override at the IMO level. So let's say you make 1,000, I'm going to make 500 because I have an override on you. That goes into a pool of money. So now that I'm making you more money, there's more money going into the pool. I'm making more money. So by making you more, I'm making more in the long run. And then if you look at it from a longer strategy, 3, 4 years down the road, you're doing really well. I'm going to give you buy-in on the company. You're going to get 1% of all
That's
the
huge.
profits that year. Yeah, invest you. You're like, man, why would I go anywhere else when I have the opportunity to make more and more and more money? Then on top of that, we're giving cars away in Vegas and stuff like that. Like, who doesn't want that? So, yeah, as far as training people, man, I want them to buy leads and I want them to be successful right off the bat. But at the same time, the long term goal is for them to all be like me, like free leads, make content, let people book on your calendar because that is the easiest sale you'll ever make. Is when
Hmm.
someone shows up and they know exactly what they want. If you watch 10 of my videos, you know exactly what this policy is, and you call me like, "Hey, I want to put $500 a month in this policy." There is not one person in the USA that's getting that besides me and about 10 other people. Everyone else is having to fight. Like, who are you, Chris? Who are you with? Oh, so
That's wild.
you're not with Fidelity. You're not with my 401k company. No, click. Like me, I'm just showing
Jeez.
them like, hey, what's up? I watched your videos. I love you. I want to do this. No one's getting that.
There's a lot of parallels in between like what I do and what a lot of people do and you do. And it's all about relationships, I feel like, right? Like building that strong relationship with someone for them to trust you. And you're doing that on the front end with the content. Then of course you're just a personal guy. Like and that transparency sheet. Like this makes me so happy. Just knowing there's good people out there doing the right thing. And so glad to have you on here.
You
Now,
bet. Well, there's one more thing I
Rob,
want to say on the transparency
oh yeah.
side. There was this video that I was making once. So I opened up a policy for my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter at the time. I walked into her room and I had a policy packet. So it's what they deliver to you when you get the policy. I threw it at her, filmed it, and said, "Here's your policy." And she rolled her eyes at me and gave me a dirty look. And I posted it. And I thought, man, a lot of people are going to think his kids don't respect him. Like she's mean to him and he lets it happen. He's like I don't want to say the word, but a soy boy. And what's funny is 2 days later, I got a booking. Didn't know he showed up and he's like making $1 million a year. He has all this money. Like I'm going to make a ton of money off with him. And he said, the reason why I booked with you? I said, why? He said, that video you made with your daughter. I was like, this is a real human being. Like his daughter rolled his eyes at him. I mean, it was a dark, gloomy room. Like this is a real person. I want to work with a real person. So
Yeah.
when you start, put out all the content, just throw stuff at the wall until it sticks. You never know who's going to like what content and when. So like if you're starting out and you're trying to sell widgets on Amazon, like just keep filming, keep filming. I mean, I throw out videos randomly. If I think of something, I go film it and I put it up. So there's no thought process behind any of my videos. It's just like right as I think of it, we're putting it out. I may get 50 views on one. I may get 2 million views on another. I put the same amount of effort in all the videos.
I think I remember hearing you talk about that in one of the CCV calls. And in that same call, I have notes about this. It was about no, the copying thing, right? Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but put your spin on something. Don't just steal someone's content, but it's okay because it's all Like physical training, for instance, a squat's a squat, right?
Yep.
You program that into somebody, you put up a video about that, it's a squat. But you can put your own take on it. You can have your own cues, do whatever you want with it. And I think a lot of people get that imposter syndrome. I know I do. Right? Like, there, yeah. And you start
Still,
second guessing yourself. Yeah, I don't know if it ever goes away, but how did you get over that?
man, that's tough. I know Rob talks about it too in the CCV calls, imposter syndrome. Um, I don't think it's a lack of self respect because I know I'm pretty, um, not really proud. What would you call that? Confident in myself. And I know Rob's confident in himself. I mean, dude's
Oh
got
yeah.
somebody else's hair in his beard or in his hair. So like,
Yeah.
you can't be more confident than wearing somebody else's hair with rubber bands. It's not a confidence thing. It's just like I'm making so much more money than I used to. This can't be legal, or something's got to be wrong. What most people don't know is sales sucks. Like no one wants to be in sales, but there's more potential in sales than anything else. And if you
Yep.
want to learn sales, once again, Alex Ramosi, like love the guy to death. I used to avoid him like the plague because he was just some buff dude sitting on a
YouTuber.
couch with a nose strip. So yeah, he always says if you want to learn sales, go work a crappy $7 an hour job dealing with people that don't want you. Because once you finally get good at selling clothes at Macy's, like what else could you sell? You could go sell Lamborghinis, jets, like start fixing rich people's problems. And since you understand dealing with people's objections. Objection handling is 90% of the reason why people quit. People want to come in, have an easy sale, make money, go home. It's not that easy. Now, with me, it's easy because I'm on social media. If I have a social
Mm-hmm.
media post and I have 40 trolls saying, you're a fake, you're a lie, this is this and that, if I just go back in there and politely answer those questions, people go in and read them, they they handled all of their objections before they even got on the call. So
That's
social
awesome.
media is so much bigger than you think. It's not about getting my face out there. I like you. You know, you're just some redneck. It's like I've done hundreds of hours of research on your social media. I'm ready to commit, and it could be about anything. Like I bought a vacuum off TikTok the other day, and I saw this
No
vacuum
way.
in a couple. I saw it in a couple posts, and I was like, "That's stupid," because it just showed a picture of it, and I was like, "Okay, that's expensive and a waste of time." One person showed a video to where the vacuum was running. They were throwing cereal on the ground and mud, and it was just sweeping it up and mopping behind it. And I was like, "No, okay, I'll buy it." Now that I bought it, one of the best decisions I ever made. But it was because someone went into detail in their video, gave me all the details, and didn't try to sell me anything. No one at the end was like, go to blah blah blah.com and buy this. People don't want to be sold, dude. We have thousands of years of knowing when we're being sold, when we're being lied to. I mean, that guy
Mm-hmm.
on the side of the road in movies that opens up his trench coat and he's got watches,
Yep.
like we all know it's fake. So stop trying to sell people and just give them the information. I mean, the easiest way to say is like if you go to a dealership, do you want someone to talk to you and follow you around? I'm looking for a lifted truck. Show me 5 lifted trucks and leave me alone.
Yep.
Okay, I like this one. Let's buy it. That's how I buy. If you come up to me, you're like, oh, you want this truck because of this, just leave me alone. And that's the way I do my business. Give you the information, leave you alone.
Provide a solution for that person. Don't just hammer at them. Yeah. I'm about to take this and send it to all my team at my office, like all the recruiters I work with, because we sell jobs. Really, we sell ourselves to provide solutions for people to trust us to take their lives and their financial situations in our hands, and it's awesome.
Yep.
And I kind of feel the same way that if I feel like I can do this for this long now and train other people to do it, man, I could conquer anything in life. Like it's pretty good feeling of like, man, and I'm improving their life. People have such a bad connotation in their head about selling and what sales is, but if you're helping somebody with it, perfect. I mean, you're providing a solution. Go to Macy's, you buy a nice shirt, you wear the shirt out, you go out on a date, and you get a second date. There you go. That guy provided a solution for you from Macy's. It all
Right.
comes full circle.
Right.
There was a podcast that Rob did with. It's on his free podcast stuff on Spotify. Was his name Brett? Maybe he's a big marketing guy. He wears like red glasses. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I
But
think
he
so. I was
talked
thinking you
about
were thinking of Aaron, but yeah, I think it's Brett.
yeah, it was a while back, but he talked about like how to build your brand and your presence on social media, and just like what you said, commenting with everybody. Like if someone follows you, shoot them a message. Hey, Dustin, thanks so much for following me, man. Like, got any questions that I could answer for you? Like, you're just interacting. and then it helps your algorithm too, I would assume. But you're
For
providing
sure.
value to these people. Is that something you do? Do you reach out to people and they follow you? I know you're getting tons of follows and stuff right now, but
Yeah, I tell you what I did now that I look back and I talk to people that are professionals like him, they tell me exactly what I did, which to me is common sense, but not to everyone. It's not common sense. So whenever things slowed down, comments slowed down, leads slowed down, I was like, what can I do on the app to help? So whenever someone followed me, instantly send them a message that's personalized that you can tell it's not robotic. Hey Chris, appreciate you following me. I like that post where you're eating the brownie and it was all over your face and the dog was looking at you sad. Like that was cool. Literally just personable. You know that I did it. And at
Mhm.
one point in time, it was so slow, I pulled out my camera and he talks about this. Make a video of yourself for 10 seconds.
Yep.
Hey Chris, appreciate the follow. Literally, that will change someone's life. Like, wow, this guy's legit. That, or they're going to think, okay, he's a scammer. But either way, I'd rather get them out the door or in the door and not be lukewarm.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, here's a question for you. How has CCV and being around people of this level and people that want to grow, how has that affected your life?
Oh man, it's I've forced myself into CCV because one, loved Rob's content. Like the whole reason why I got in the group is I messaged him one time because he liked one of my comments on some post, and I was like, "Whoa, Rob did that." So I sent him a message and I was like, "Hey Rob, I appreciate you liking my comment. I don't even know if you remember doing it, but I've been following you for like 11 years, and you've been liking my comments here and there. Just appreciate it." And then a couple hours later, he's like, "Hey, man, I've been looking at your page. Looks like you do financial stuff. I suck at that. Can we have a talk?" Next thing you know, I'm in the
Hmm.
group. Um,
That's
so I
insane.
joined. Yeah, I joined and that's cool. Like that's the power of social media. Most people do, like I can't remember his name right off the bat, but there was this NFL receiver who he was with the Chargers back in like 2002, made a ton of money. Now he's a business mogul. He reached out to me and I was like, wait, I know who that guy is. And I thought, these people really just don't approach others because they're afraid they're going to get swindled. So I say
Hmm.
all that to say the reason why I went to CCV is I was like, I always want to force myself into bigger rooms because if you're the biggest fish in the tank, you'll never grow. Like right now, my business partner through Spectrum Planning Group, he does like $300,000 a month of business that he puts in his pocket personally, and
Wow.
my best month is 100,000. So if I ever get to his point, maybe I'll go somewhere else. But for now, that's a huge feat to chase, and that's what I want to
Hmm.
do. Whenever I was the biggest fish in the room for the last 6 months, I was like, man, I'm not going to grow. I'm just going to help other people grow, which is great. But what if I can grow and help people? So I got into CCV because he made a post saying, "Hey, we got a bunch of killers in here, blah blah blah." And at the time, he did. It's kind of fell off, but there's still a bunch of people in there that are really great at what they do. They make a lot of money. They do it correctly. They're just not very active because they have busy lives. I mean,
Yeah.
wealthy people, you have to pay for their time for a reason. And that brings me back to paying for someone's time. So everything I do, for the most part, is free, which is weird. Some people don't believe that it's free. So if I sit with you and I go over your policy, it's free. If I have a call with you, it's free. Now, if we have 5 calls and you're just pulling my chain, I'm going to start charging you. But
Yep.
the reason why is if I do the math over the last 7 months, I've made roughly $375 an hour on average. I used to think that was crazy. Like, who makes that money? Well, the guy I was telling you about that makes 300 grand a year, he charges about $11,000 an hour to sit with him. And I thought,
Jeez.
that's crazy. But then when I actually sit on some of those calls, these people are getting hundreds of $1,000s of worth out of an $11,000 call. So
Hmm.
yeah, I say all that to say that joining the group, the reason why I did it is I wanted to force myself around people that are doing bigger, better things than I am.
Are there any other groups you're a part of or anything else you put yourself in?
No, I was actually right on the fence between Arte and CCV, but I didn't want to go into Arte and be like a fish in the ocean because there's going to be thousands and thousands of people there. Now, of course, there's going to be way more high level people. So the average person in there is like Rob. I wanted to go into a smaller group and kind of wean myself into that. And one, I just wanted to be around Rob. I mean, this may be a little corny, but dude, I followed him since he was sleeping on a twin mattress in his print shop. And I just thought
Yep.
this guy's got it. Like he sleeps 2 hours a day. He's working 24/7. I wish I could be that way because I was working 9 to 5. And then once he reaches out to me, I'm like, dude, I just got to be around these people.
Dude, him and his love for his craft and where that's taken him, it's just a sign that it's inevitable that you'll make it if you just keep at it no matter what the hell it is. Like
Yep,
rocking
fall in
the
love.
rocking the shirt now, like that came from CCV that they sent me, like It's so cool. I remember the moment I found them, one of my buddies from the gym in like 2011 or 10 sent me the animal cage video that him and Dana did when Richard Hawthorne, the ant, pulled like 600 some pounds, weighing 143. Sam Bird, I think was his name, squatted real heavy. Like, and all that stuff was like the catalyst for me working out too. Like, that was in my beginning years. And that guy just left a lasting impression on me ever since. I've still got this sounds wild, but I've still got an old iPod Nano that sometimes I'll take to the gym just so I can have a cord and no text or anything like that while I'm working
There
out.
you go.
And it's just like Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard playing. Like it's so cool, man. Rob is. I've actually got a printout of something he said one time, and I think you commented on it too. But yeah, we found out we were pregnant in January, and definitely was caught us a little off guard. And I was like, man, all the people around me are telling me my life's over, right? Like this is it. Like, have fun, your life's over, yada yada yada. And I was just like, you know what better people to ask than the people that are doing the damn thing? So let me jump in the group and ask. And he's like, you know what, fuck it, let me grab it. He said, it's your duty to show your kids the world and what's possible. Got that printed out and had it up on my wall because I thought that
Man,
that meant the
I just
world.
got
Like, you
chill
took the
bumps
time
you
to use
reading that.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
so that's a question
well,
for you. You've got kids. How did you manage everything with that?
man, what flipped the switch on me as far as how involved I am with my kids versus my business is about, I don't know, 3 months into my insurance life. I saw a video by Ed Milet, and Ed Milet was like, you can't fool your kids. You can tell them, one day you want to be an astronaut, a lawyer, a doctor. You can do that. And then he looks up at his dad and he says, "Why aren't you?" And I was like, "Whoa, dude,
Exactly.
that is so powerful." And whenever I looked up, I was like, I talk so much trash about how good I am, how smart I am to my kids. And I was. Like, I went to college 3 years ago because I got laid off in the oil field. They paid for me to go to college. Man, I made hundreds and hundreds and fives. Like, I did not miss. Like, I may look pretty stupid,
Mhm.
but there's a huge brain in this fat head. Uh, but I always told them, like, dad's this, dad's that, dad isn't this, dad isn't that. Completely transparent. I don't try to make myself out to be Superman. But whenever I heard that, I was like, dude, if I don't make money and become successful, it's just going to be a blueprint for someone else. I mean, I look at my parents,
Mhm.
the most money they ever made in 1 year was 24 grand, like combined. So if I keep doing that, because our best year was 70,000 3 years ago, and I thought, okay, we're making it. If I don't really just become something, my kids are just going to see me as a has been, maybe all talk, no, no, all bark, no bite. So I just had to look up and say, okay, it makes sense to keep pushing forward. 3 posts a day is not getting me anywhere. Maybe five, maybe seven, maybe 10. So, like, I'll be a little bit more transparent on what I did to get where I'm at. The first day I started posting, I just shared someone's post, completely stole it, ripped it, put it on my page, didn't give them credit, nothing, because I was lazy. I thought, that's the most wimpy, soppy, soy boy thing I could have ever did. What am I doing? So I started making my own content. Then about a month in, I noticed a couple guys that I followed do a bunch of lives. So I went into the calls and I started to see how they handled objections. Trolls would come in and be like, "Oh, the Roth is better than this, and the 401k is great." Like, they would just come in and just bash. And the way they handled these things, I was like, it's so much
Hmm.
easier to see someone handle objections and then copy it later. So I spent like 4 hours a night. I'd be in bed with my earphones in, and my wife's just sitting there going, because she wants me to be doing something else.
Yep.
Um, and I'm on those live calls just listening, like, okay, that's how you handle that troll. That's how you handle that troll. And I'm learning, instead of sitting there scrolling through TikTok and being like, boobs, conspiracy, how to clean your floors. It's like finance, 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 finance. Once all you do is surround yourself with what you want to do, it's almost impossible to not win. Like, it's Alex Hormozy said, if you want to do one thing and only do that one thing until you absolutely master it and there's no more growth, you automatically become irreplaceable and you'll make more money than you know what to do with. So I was like, how do I make content? That's what I wanted to do. I didn't really care about the calls. Like, I just wanted to be successful in people watching my post, enjoying what I do. So um, that's what I did. Is I just did a whole bunch of live calls, made sure I post all the time, kept myself busy in the comment section, and be respectful. Man, I can't tell you how many times people in the financial world are bashing other people to get business. So Dave Ramsey's great for poor people. That's it.
To get out of
He's
debt,
step
and that's about
one.
it.
He's step one on a 25-step staircase. So if you want to just get out of debt and cruise, Dave Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, bro, the next 24 steps, you need to completely get away from that guy. But I don't bash him. I don't go on and be like, Dave Ramsey's an idiot. Now, I'll post him his videos where he says something stupid, and I'm like, okay, that's wrong. This is why it's wrong. So I never
Mm-hmm.
just blindly, like a Sith Lord, I don't come out and say, you have to do this. I'm like, here's why. Make your own decision. I do that in everything. So, yeah.
So how do you structure your family life now with all the work you're doing?
Oh, man, they just know it's part of life. So, like, I'll have, man, at one point I was doing 12 calls a day. I do 12
Wow.
1 hour calls back to back to back to back. Barely got enough chance to use the bathroom, eat. Now I'm to the point where I'm taking about 7 calls. I was taking maybe 4 calls a day, all new clients. But, anyways, they just know that I might be on call for 5 minutes. I might be on call for an hour and 20 minutes, but my day ends at 6 o'clock. So, from 6 o'clock to 8, if the kids want my attention, they have it. Now, I'll be on my phone because if I get a comment and I don't answer it in the first 5 minutes, like statistics show that their fall off is huge. So 5 minutes, I'm
Hmm.
getting on that text. So they know
Wow.
if I pull my phone out, I'm not piddling on social media. I'm not scrolling on Instagram. I'm like, answer, get off the phone. So another cool thing about that is my kids are seeing that you can have a work life balance and be successful and wealthy when you get older. You just have to have an entrepreneur mindset. When you clock in, you are freaking clocked in. I hate it. When I worked blue collar jobs, people showed up, they sit down
Mm-hmm.
all sad, and they drink their energy drink for 45 minutes in the first, don't do work, and then they get on their phone. Like,
Yep.
bro, show up and work. I was the hardest working dude anywhere I went. Day one, day 400. Did not matter because whenever I showed up, it's like, dude, I'm here. If you work hard, the time goes by faster. So
Yep.
I say that to say if you're in the blue collar industry at all, like me, like I was, and you want to get into the white collar industry, if you bring 50% of your work ethic over, you will absolutely crush everyone around you. That's it. That is it. And I think as Dana White said, I tell my kids all the time that if you are even remotely savage, you will run over everyone. And that is the most truth. Oh my God. People want to just pull out their phone, make a post, and go to the lake for the rest of the day and be rich. If you put any effort in,
Yep.
you will make it.
That's so true. I came from, I guess, blue collar work. If you say working in a grocery store for 9 years, went to school to be a teacher, and well, obviously not doing that. But I, w- I mean, this confidence, not cockiness, but I was like one of the hardest working people in that store and in that like franchise, right? Like I went to go do the corporate projects. If I had to clean the bathrooms, those bathrooms were so damn clean, dude. Like, because I had integrity and work ethic, and then
That's
that
it.
poured over into this, and man, it's been beautiful to see it happen. And I've still got my name badge up at my desk at my office. Like I'm never going back to that. Like we're gonna make it.
Man, that's huge
So
too. I do the same thing. I have 320 bucks sitting on my desk. And every day, whenever I sit down, I'm like, this $320 was how much you made on average every week for the last 10 years. Do you want to go back to
that's
that?
awesome.
Or do you want to sit in this room in air conditioning and make anywhere from 20 to 120 grand a month? So,
That is
reminder
so
sits on
nuts.
my desk.
That is so nuts. Yeah. How does it feel? Does it feel surreal?
Dude, I'm the type of person that I don't know. I'm not very emotional person. So, when I saw all that money, I was like, that's cool. But at the same time, I'm at that not victimhood mentality. What's the other one? The anyways, of the mentality that it may not last, it may not come back, it's not real. One day I'll wake up and I'll have zero in my checking account instead of 180 grand. So uh, I'm just one of those people that I'm a realist to the T. I'm 100% realist. My wife hates it. Anytime we talk about something, I'm like, okay, realistically, or if we spend $6,000 on a 4 day trip to Cancun, what did we really get out of it besides traveling for 2 days and drinking for 2 days? So
Let's go to
I'm the
Myrtle
type of
Beach,
person
man.
whenever, yeah, I get all this traction. I make all the money. People are reaching out to me, asking me questions. It just became a new thing, and that's good and bad. Good is I don't get hyped up. I don't go spend the money. I don't fluff myself up to be some better person. The bad thing is when I get bored, I want more. That's good and bad. I mean, if you get to a
Mhm.
point where you make this much money, now I want to go make this much money, or I help this many people, I want to go help this many people. It's kind of like that's my
We
only
like
addiction in
demonized.
life is just being better. Yeah, whenever I was bodybuilding, which I've been to the gym like, man, once a week for the last 2 months, it's pathetic. So I traded fitness for
Oh
finance.
man, yeah.
Yeah. So whenever I was bodybuilding, dude, I was addicted. I'd go 14 days a week. I'd go lift, and whenever I lifted, man. I never not went to failure. I'd work out people twice my size, twice as strong as me, and I'd outwork every one of them. There'd be a puddle of sweat behind me everywhere I went. When I played football for 14 years. Every practice, somebody was getting knocked out. Every game, I was trying not really hurt people, just to let people know that I was better than them. And it wasn't like a
Hmm.
cocky, like bang my chest thing. It was just like I want to prove to myself that I'm better than I am because I had no
Yeah.
self respect. I knew how good I was, but I wanted to show everybody else how good I was. So it's one of those things where it's like you don't respect yourself, but you respect others. Like I think it was Andy Frisella said, you'll listen, you'll do what other people tell you to do, but when you tell yourself to do it, you don't do it. So whenever you go to work and they're like, "Hey, go clean the floors," you go clean those floors and make them pretty. When you come
Hmm.
home, you're like, "Man, my room needs to be clean." Man, my
Yeah,
wife will pick it up,
exactly.
or I'll do that another day. So until you start making promises to yourself and actually fulfilling them, you won't have self respect. I mean, I'll tell you, confidence is built off of doing exactly what you tell yourself to do. If I say, "Man, I need to go mount that TV on the wall," and I'm like, "Man, I don't want to." If I just get up and go mount that TV on the wall, doesn't matter if it takes me 10 minutes or 4 hours. I'm like, I did what I told myself to do. Like a
And do
couple
your
of days
word.
ago, it was 110 outside, and I was like, I'm going to go on my 3 mile walk. It's up the road. No, it's hot. And I'm like, bro, get up and do it because you told yourself not to. I went and did it. When I come back, I was like, I got to just quit talking to myself.
I did the same thing where and I'm good and bad. I traded, the fitness for finance and gained a lot of skills, gained a lot of money. Now I'm chasing that back and finding out we were pregnant stuff in the catalyst for that. For me to be like you said, if I'm going to tell my kid that they can be whatever they want in life, then they're not going to look at me and be like, well, what the hell, dad? What are you doing? Like that exact thing is what I've been telling myself every day. So set a goal. I'm competing again next year. The kid we'll see how it goes. Maybe in the summer or fall next year, he'll be like won't really know what the hell's going on, but I'll be jacked and shredded, so I'll be happy about it. But it feels good to kind of get back into that realm as well and build that discipline in that place. But like society's demonized being fit and being wealthy at the same time, and also we just demonize making more than like six figures. People think you're like greedy and scamming people, no matter what you're doing. It's such like you're talking about these figures and you're like, yeah, man, I'm helping people, just doing my thing, like no emotions attached. And then someone's gonna hear this and be like, that guy, man, he's just robbing people. They have no idea. They have
No
no idea.
idea. Yeah, they don't know that everything that I do is based off of respect of other people. Period. And if you do it and you do it on a high enough level and you do it for yourself, that's what's huge. Do it for yourself because you can be an entrepreneur, which I'm the best entrepreneur on the planet. If I go work for a company, I'm turning that company around in a week. But being an entrepreneur is a different world. It's tough. But if you can
Mm-hmm.
respect yourself and work as hard, if not harder for yourself, you're going to make so much more money. And then doing it right. If you do it right, the referrals one day will kick in so heavy. Like my partner I was telling you about making 300 grand a month a year ago today is when I met him, or a year ago, I don't know, it was like 300 days ago. I met him and he was busy. He was okay busy, but he was still seeing my clients. Now he's so busy that he has to work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he
Jeez.
still can't get caught up because the referrals hit. And he's like, I don't know why my business is blowing up. I was like, you're probably the smartest
Referrals.
person I've ever met, but the reason why your business is kicking off is because you helped so many people and they're talking. That's all it is.
And that's a beautiful thing. Like that's something that makes you sleep even better at night, knowing that people trust you so much they can tell their loved ones about it.
Yep. And I'll tell you, all the millionaires and rich people I've met over the last year, Um, I'd say 75% of them are no smarter than me and you. They're just persistent. So all the people in school that weren't paying attention in class, but they were really artistic or they could ride the skateboard better than everyone else, they were the type of people that they put time and effort into their craft. Meanwhile, you were drinking beer or going to the lake or staying at home playing video games. Those are the people that become millionaires and billionaires. It's people that are doing the right thing but are too stubborn to say no. If you tell someone
Yeah.
no, like Colonel Sanders. I think he had 1,600 doors he knocked on to sell his chicken at the age of 65, 67. Finally, one person said yes, and he was a millionaire before he died. Like,
It's never too late.
it's It's persistency. Yeah. I mean, it's never too late. And then if you'll just not cry like a little,
Yep.
anyways, if you won't cry and you'll just actually stick it out and do it until you get a yes, t- statistics show you're going to get 9 no's before you get one yes. So go get 10 no's because you know you're going to probably get 2 or 3 yeses in a row. Like there's been
Hmm.
weeks where I've made nothing. There's been months where I've made nothing, but then there's days where I made 70 grand. So are you kidding me? Like I'm going to stick it out. I know because I've done it personally. That's what my problem is trial and error. I have to do something myself. Um,
I hear you. I feel
the
that.
and man, and another thing that blue collar work taught me, I worked at a manufacturing facility, and this old man, he wore overalls every day, even not at work, he wore overalls. So he was country bumpkin. He said, "You know what? You want to go to college, but every one of those books were written by somebody who did what you're trying to do. They just did it and then wrote it. So who's to say you can't
Hmm.
go out there and learn it, do it on your own faster than going to college?" So I was like, "That's stupid." And then when I went to college and graduated, I was like, "That guy is so much smarter than I gave him credit for."
Yeah, that's a good perspective. Well, I got a few last questions for you. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing, what would it be? When you start this journey, or any time that you think would have changed the trajectory sooner, what would it be?
Probably the same answer that 90% of people tell you is just freaking do it. Quit thinking about it and just do it. Like probably 6 months of reading books, learning from other people. Like people think they have to be at a certain level of knowledge before they move forward. But really, the hardest part about business is getting your teeth kicked in. Like being told, no,
Amen.
you're stupid. Like what I always tell people, my new hires is like, hey, you got to get your teeth kicked in enough to know which
There it
mouthpiece to
is.
put in on each call. That's all it is. Like if you just get out there, do it because you can tell me don't do this because of this, this, and this. But back in January, I lost the biggest client that I've had to date. I've lost him
Hmm.
because I said one thing wrong. Now I know for the rest of my life to never say that one thing. So you just have to have something to tie to. Experience is only good if you have something to tie it to.
Perfect. Man, yeah, there's so many parallels. I mean, it's sales, but God, getting your teeth kicked in, man, such a valuable thing to have happen. And you have to have it happen.
Blessing in disguise.
You talk about books? Yeah, definitely. What are your top three books?
Oh, you just mean in general or for finance? Because
In
most
general,
of the
yeah.
time,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I only look at what's in my realm. So if you're trying to learn finance and you're trying to figure out how to be successful or have like the best retirement as possible, number one is going to be The Power of Zero by David McKnight. So that book is basically going to tell you how to retire and not pay a dime in taxes when you retire. Really simple, straightforward. Number two would be, man, that's tough.
Can I guess one that I think you might say? $100 million offers by Hormozy.
Man, you know what? I forgot that. That would be number one. Okay, so number two. Number two, if you're an entrepreneur, $100 million offers. That book is sweet. Like the cool thing about it is
Amazing.
the whole time I'm listening to it on audiobook, I'm on a flight and I'm like, duh, 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 duh. Wait, I've been saying duh about all this, but I haven't been doing any of it. So it doesn't matter if you know it all. If you don't implement it, who cares? So
Yeah,
whenever he said, if you want referrals, treat each client like it's your last client. Duh, but are you doing it? No, because you're lazy or you just don't want to take that extra step. So
exactly.
$100 million offers for an entrepreneur is huge.
Invaluable.
And if yeah, and if I can say like not really a book, but podcast that you want to go watch. It used to be Real AF, but Real AF is more like poking fun at uh, politicians right now. I would say it's The Game by Alex Hermosi. He gives you 5 to 10 minute nuggets every single day, shows you real life explanations whenever he screwed up, when people he knows screwed up, when $100 million a year owners screw up. Like he gives you the reason and then he breaks it down to make it palatable. So if I could just say number one for finance, Power of Zero, $200 million offers for entrepreneurs, and three, if you're not listening to podcasts on your downtime, you're still listening to music, quit. Like I know I quit listening to music when I work out and it made my workout suffer. But whenever your blood is flowing and your body's moving, that information is like in slow motion. It's like when you get in a car wreck and you remember like 100 frames per second, when you're working
Yep.
out, you remember 100 frames per second. So when your blood's rushing, man, that's the best time to learn it. Not on a treadmill, Because when most people are on a treadmill or a stair climber, they're just ready to get off. They're watching that timer. So it's kind of like everything's bouncing off. But when you're doing something you love and you're listening to it, man, it clicks.
100%. Last question: where can people find you and reach out to you?
So my Instagram handle is Viking Financial Group. That's my only handle right now. So I have probably 15 imposters that are acting like me, that are
Jeez.
ripping people off. So I know of for sure $60,000 was stolen from a bunch of my clients because they came on and tried to
Jeez.
sell them crypto. So if I try to sell you crypto or
Oh
I
my
try to
god.
get you in this new business deal, it's not me. Viking Financial Group
Wow.
on TikTok, Viking Financial, soon to be a podcast, The Viking Way.
Sweet.
It hasn't come out yet. I filmed 2 episodes. I'm waiting till I can get 5 so I can stay ahead of it.
Amazing.
Basically, just going to be like this. I'm going to tell you, just like Alex Ramosi, I'm going to tell you 5 minutes of this. Take it and leave it. Take it or leave it, whatever you want. But yeah, look out for that podcast. And then soon, I'm going to do the same content on 2 different platforms, 2 different pages. So Viking Financial Group and then Spectrum Planning Group. So if you're
Cool.
watching this and it's not out yet, keep looking. It'll be out soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Dustin. I really appreciate it, man. Have a great rest of your day, dude. I'll talk to you
You bet.
soon.
Appreciate it.